Arcade and the games get saved so they can be played on another day. Rob's Arcade.
I mean, that's almost like the perfect freaking like intro. I might do that from now on. Like that was like super cool. I was just trying that out to see if that would work, and I don't know. I like it. I like the stairs, like coming up the stairs like it's a talk show, and that's kind of like down in the green room, and then you hear your name, and you come running up. You come out on the stage there to my well, to your right, to my left, because I'm sitting on the couch. Thanks for coming back, you guys. Took a little break there. It's been a little bit all over the place here in this video, but I want to welcome you back to Rob's Arcade. Like I said, hanging out here, doing this little piece I like to do, where it's like this little virtual world of mine here in GTA Los Santos, as I come to you as Rob in this virtual video game format, where I typically come to you guys playing video games, showing you retro stuff and Fortnite clips. But this is, I think, a fun merger because I like to do sometimes, like, I don't know, like my Monday motivation videos, or sometimes I'll just talk to you about like comics or show you cards or something like that. And I'll actually be on screen. Um, but this is kind of like a fun way for me to be on screen, but in like a video game format and like a talk show kind of a thing. And I don't know, I just, as I was saying in the last video, I got away from it for a while, and it's nice to be back in this like little thing that I do here with you guys, and it's just talk and ramble about different things that I do and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you missed the first part, go back and watch the first part of this video, and then jump back into the second part here with us now. Let's go ahead and just kind of get back into where I left off. I was just kind of talking about work and different things, just how great it's been going. But the main piece to all of it was just how just great the staff that I work with has been, and especially like the senior members of my staff and the supervising members of my staff. Even like some of the regionals and higher ups have had conversations with me. Excuse me, just get some coffee there. Over these last couple of months, uh, you know, promising me certain things, and I just haven't always been quite sure if it was going to be delivered quite as they promised, or if I was just being told one thing to kind of keep me around, keep me happy. As I mentioned, I do a lot of stuff at work, and so it's one of those pieces where it's, if we don't keep him happy, if we lose him, there's a lot of little holes and gaps and pieces that they would need to fill. And, I just remember my last job, feeling like my team had my back, but realizing as soon as things went sour and as things got kind of toxic, that I was really on my own there. Like it was like, just by yourself, sink or swim, buddy. And having this relationship now really means the world. And I think that's the most important piece, as I was saying. Like, any kind of promotion, pay bump, whatever, those are always a great um, thing to have, getting more responsibilities or being looked um, to, simply just take care of whatever it is. It's always a great piece, but those promises being met and all of those pieces being, um, seen through is what really, really stands out and what I really appreciate about all of this. But this whole past week has just been really great. It's been funny because they're surprised, I guess, to see me. I was away for a week in the mountains with the teens. Then I came back. I had a week on. Then I was gone for a week. I had a day on, and then I was off for 2 days. So there's a big gap in there that like I haven't been present, but I have been seen more now in my role and more in the main vein of everything that's going on. And is there coughing? That's so crazy. I'm going to go back and watch that. It sounded like coughing outside. I've never heard that inside my apartment, like somebody coughing outside in the video game, unless it's like outside my actual place. That's kind of scary. Um, but it's just been people are like, hey, and like just like more excited to see me, and it's just like from our members, there's been like more engagement, and just overall, it's been really cool. But I don't know, like the last couple days were just really, really great. I had a lot of coworkers, literally, like actually, like reaching out to me and just saying some of the nicest things. In fact, two were hanging out. Actually, the nice young lady who did my interview and really who I owe a lot to, like really helped me get to where I'm at today, Katie. It's just always amazing. Just giving me advice and just different things, kind of helping me understand what it takes to progress and rise up through the ranks where we work. And she's no longer like a coworker with me, but she still works with us. And the new young lady who's going to be taking over teens, we're just kind of talking and hanging out. And there was another young lady who I guess wasn't very familiar with who I am, which the audacity, I'm kind of a name around town here. But she just didn't know who I was. It was just a different branch, and we don't always get a chance to interact with each other. But they were talking like and trying to explain to me or about me to her and all this stuff, and they were actually just saying some really nice things. And I only know this is because Katie snapped me, and we're just kind of like joking around, like, "Hey, we're talking about you." Um, but they both like also kind of went out of their way to then follow up with it, kind of like a no, we're serious, like you're awesome, and like we appreciate you, and you do great things, and blah 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 blah. And it was just kind of out of nowhere, and then to be followed up with a close friend and a member popping into my office with his son, and then also just saying some of the nicest and some of the sweetest things, like just completely unprompted and you know, um, just very genuine. And it was almost to a degree where I'm like, am I dying? Like, what is going on? Why is everybody being so nice to me right now? But it was um, just one of those like pieces where, I don't know, so sometimes I think how because I messaged Katie back, snapped her back on the way home. It was just kind of like telling her about too. I was like, um, the member coming in and saying all these nice things, and she knows him as well, and I just had to share that with her, and again thank her for all the nice things that she was just saying about me and everything. But um, sometimes where I was like, oh yeah, sometimes it's like, where am I going with all this? Sometimes even as you're going through the pieces of it, and this kind of goes back to like a full-time meeting we had not too long ago, and it still rings very true. Um, the takeaway from that, but sometimes as you're moving through all these pieces, and you have all this stuff going on, and you have all these different programs, and it's after school, and it's summer camp, and it's trips to the mountains, and it's this and it's that, and there's an Easter event, no, there's a Halloween thing, and Christmas trees, and blah 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 blah. So as all these pieces are moving around, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell, like if you're doing the right thing and making the right are you having an effect? Are you make the big question? Are you making a difference? Right? I think that's the biggest question. I think everybody has that question. Like, man, am I even? Is what I do? Does it even matter? Am I making a difference? Would it, if I didn't show up tomorrow, would it even matter? You know? I think that's a question everybody can relate to at least one time at one point in their life, right? So you hear these things and it's like, man, I am okay. Not just to the people that I work for, not just to the people that I serve, people I work with, alongside, the people that work under me, the people that work up. Like it's all in. you realize you start to get this, this the kind of feedback, and it's genuine and it's heartfelt, and it's like, man, like I'm making a difference, you know. And to me, again, like that goes right up there with that piece of, being told one thing and having it seen all the way through, the way it was, like I said again, the way it was promised to you. But then also to have those around you see the value in what you do and who you are, it's so great. And so I mean, it's literally just been the last few days of just that kind of stuff and those kinds of relationships and those kinds of people and all that stuff. So um, there hasn't been any kind of like crazy, oh, I won something or anything like that. But it's just been a really great last, uh, couple of days at work. And then it's been more enjoyable with my time off and the things that I like to do. That has definitely improved as well to where I remember even a lot of times like fighting to try to get home to play Fortnite, with some friends or something like that, my cousin, and gosh, just having like so much going on with like programming and after school stuff. Um, and then even like, God, I can recall like getting home and there's like an email that I've been working on since like 12:30, 2 o'clock, then 3 o'clock, and then 4, and then the after school program thing, and then I'm finally home, and then it's like, all right, guys, I'm so sorry, hold on. And like we're like launching out the bus, and I'm falling through the air, and I got my headset on, I got my controller like laid out next to me, and I'm not even touching it. I'm on my computer, and I'm either copying and pasting like times and dates for volunteer things, or I'm trying to like copy and paste all the email names into the address things and CC this person and BCC all these people and da 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 da. And then it's like finally, like, let's say I get home at 5 o'clock. I feel like by like maybe like 5:45, 6 o'clock, something like that, I'm finally like fully engaged into, whatever I'm doing. I'm not gonna lie, it used to be a lot of mornings of just even like waking up like, oh shit, oh God, what day is it? Okay, all right, t-shirt things are due this day, and oh my gosh, and like just this has got to get done today, and like just always, there's always like something to register, always something going on, always something to put together, always something to add to a calendar, and then it got very over overwhelming from time to time. So like I said, I can recall even waking up in the mornings before my day would even start, kind of already and kind of like, oh my gosh, oh, what's, oh, um, kind of a thing. So I don't know. It's a different pace. I mean, there's still a lot going on in what I do, and like I said, I feel like I have a bit more responsibility, but I am thankful just for so many reasons, and like I'm not a very like I would say I'm a spiritual person. I don't know if I would go over and like say I'm like a very religious person, but I do feel blessed. Like it's one of those pieces where there's a huge emphasis on being thankful and prayer and all those things, especially when we go to the mountain. Um, some might think it's a little culty or what have you, and I'm not typically one that does a lot of prayer or blessings before foods and gatherings and stuff like that. But there is a space for that when we go, and there's just something, I don't know, there's something about it, and it gets rejuvenated when I go, and even more so this last time. It's interesting. It's probably very close to the same way the Green Lantern and the Power Rings and all that work. Like the more he goes to Oa, where their main source of power and all that comes from, I feel like the stronger he gets. Like he's got his lantern. His lantern recharges him throughout his battles and throughout his day to day bouts with criminals. But the power of the planet of Oa, I feel like really charges the lanterns, and the more they go, I feel like not only does it charge them more, but the more it stays with them. Does it make any sense? Am I losing you guys again? But that's exactly what this is like. You know, it's like going up to the mountains to this leader school. Um, it charges your spirit, it charges your soul, and I really feel like, I mean, it's been, you know, a few weeks, and I still like, I don't know if I held on to it as long as I've been holding on to it. This the last time I went, but yeah, man, it strengthens that faith and that whole um, being thankful and just feeling blessed. I think that's what I was, you know, just trying to get to. Is that you start to feel blessed for all these pieces, and you know, wonder, is there a divine path? You know, like you go through so many trials and tribulations, and you're like, why am I here? Why is this going on? You know, um, you go through like a separation, or you go through this, or you know, your father passes, or you just so many different things. Like, why is all this happening to me? You know, and then finally something happens. Um, you know, like you finally decide to like, hey, and not to say that like, oh, at some point, you know, the Heavenly Father just says, "Oh, I got you," you know, and puts his hand on your head and just guides you through life. I think it really is up to the individual. I think it really is up to that person to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to take it upon myself to make a difference." And I think that's when um, those things start to change and you start to have those little blessings that start to happen, you know. But I think it's really up to that individual that, you know, makes the right decisions and really accepts the fact that like, hey, I got to start living a little bit better if I want better results in my own life. uh, so it's definitely uh, been one of those like, do I deserve all of this? Like, there's a nice lady that comes into work all the time, and we talk about. She's like, "How's it going? How's it going?" I'm like, "It's going good," you know. And then like things happen, you know. Like not everything. Like, you know, you have your fender benders in life, and you know, some mornings, you know, your car just won't start, or what. Like things happen. I'm not going to sit here and go like, "Oh, my life is freaking perfect, man. It's good," but it's not perfect, you know. Like my mom drives me crazy. You know, my uncle drives me nuts. There's just like things, you know, things happen. Um, I don't have the best relationship with my sister. You know, like there are pieces to my life that aren't great. But like I said, when when I kind of like I said woke up that morning and said like, hey, look, I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna start to change. I've been doing everything I feel like the wrong way for the last whatever 5, 10, 20 years. Let's try to, you know, veer back on. I was like, I don't know where I went off on the wrong path. I don't know where I went wrong, but I need to try to get back on that right path to start making the right decisions. And it was interesting. It's like comic books, because I've mentioned superheroes and things like that a few times. It really does play a piece in it because I think that was a lot of my struggle. Like, you know, I'm reading comic books every week, and I feel like it was when I got back into comics was where like, you know, I really like I jacked my toe up. Um, one because, and you know, alcohol was definitely involved in that. Um, but then after that, I remember I got back into comics, and it was like I really was like I was reading them going to the store every week and picking up new books and new issues like every single week, and really getting back into it. And it was it was conflicting, man. It was really conflicting, man. Conflicting, conflicting, conflicting. I'm gonna go look that up real quick. but no, yeah, it was really conflicting. I'm like, I think I was like really getting back into and embracing this comic book um, morale that I used to really embrace when I was in my teenage years. And I was having almost like maybe like an identity crisis with like, who are you, dude? Are you like, you know, this guy who wants to do right and be good and do like what would Peter Parker do kind of a situation? Or are you somebody who just kind of gives up? And are you like the punk in the panels? You know, are you the punk with the knife? You know, he'll do anything to get a hit, or you know, are you the superhero? And like honestly, I think that was like where a lot of it was hard for me. Where like I would have those days where like I mean, well, I would literally like I would sneak drinks and like you know kind of sneak around with it and you know wind up passing out early only to wake up at like 4 in the morning and go, oh man, I need to stop this, and like what am I doing with myself, and blah 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 blah. I gotta you know a beautiful dog and a wife who cares about me, and I'm like throwing it all away, and then I would just literally do the same thing like within the next day or two or the next day even, you know, like just fall right back into it, and then again wake up at like 5 in the morning like this isn't right, you know. And I think a lot of it was like again I'm going to the comic shop every week and I'm reading these books and I'm just like this isn't, you know. I mean, it would be almost like the same thing. Like I said, I'm not a very religious person, but almost in the same sense of like reading a Bible, like getting back into like reading the Bible every week, and then all of a sudden you start to look at your own actions. You're like, man, what I'm doing just isn't right. It's not the right way to live. And I think honestly, that's where a lot of the conflict and where a lot of the change was starting to kind of set in. Um, just you know, just a few years ago, because I hadn't been reading comics throughout my whole, you know, through all my 20s and 30s and 40s. Like you know, it wasn't until, like I said, I kind of hurt my toe that I got back into it. Actually, I have to thank my dad and my aunt Maria for that. My dad kind of just I don't know. He kind of he knew. He just had a feeling like excuse me. He just had a feeling um about picking up some Spawn comics, and I was just getting back into it because issue 300 was rolling around and that was coming up fast. And when I did break my toe, my aunt Maria like took me to the comic shop a couple of times. I think it was like 2 or 3 times she would like take me to the comic shop to kind of get me out the house, and that really sparked that like the thing too. You know, like you think about it, like you know, you're laid up in bed, you got like a broken toe, you're healing, you're reading your comics, and you're kind of like, yeah, man, like these are the decisions I need to be making. This is the way I need to be living, not like the way I have been, because the way I have been is just like jacked me all up, and I got a broken toe, and I can't work, and I put an extra burden on the people around me, and blah 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 blah. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think honestly, like that was a big piece of it. It's not like almost like a religious piece of like going to church every day, but there are moral lessons in these books of Spider-Man and Batman and Superman. And I'm actually going to try to go see Superman today at some point. My good buddy Buck is really anxious to go see it. I'm excited to go see it, and then maybe who knows, we can just kind of kick back him and I and talk about it and ruin it for all of all of you guys. But yeah, I've been really excited. I think Superman was actually the first movie I ever saw. My dad said that we uh, went to a drive-in when I was a kid, and he's like Bambi or Superman are probably like the first two movies that you saw. So I'm gonna go with Superman. That being my first the first movie I ever saw in a drive-in. The the original the original film, Richard Donner film. Um, and it would make a lot of sense just given my personality and the fact that I'm actually looking at a Superman action figure in my closet right now, sitting on top of a stack of DC comic books. Um, So, I mean, there you have it. It's kind of like a little bit all over the place, but I think it's kind of woven neatly into a nice little package for you guys that you can kind of kick back and listen to and have a little bit of fun with. And just know that, the decisions you make in life, they do have everybody said every action has a equal or greater reaction. It's very true. And so just try to live your lives right. Try to live your life good. Try to do the best things. Try to live best. It's amazing how far just a little bit of like goodwill and vibes and intentions can go. Um, I need to do, I think, better sometimes by the people that are closest to me, but sometimes that's the hardest thing to figure out from time to time. Um, but even with strangers, it's important just to kind of like, be understanding, try to be a little bit compassionate, and just like I said, guys, really try to be there and like try to help each other out, and just be a better person. Be that Superman for everybody. Hopefully, you guys get a chance to get out, go see the movie as well. I think I've seen every Superman movie in the theater. I don't think I've missed a single one. Like I said, if I saw the original Superman in the drive-in, I know I saw Superman Returns in the theater. I definitely remember seeing Superman 4 with my dad. What is it, Quest for Peace? I don't know if I saw the middle two in the theater, but I know I saw the first one, the fourth one, all of the main ones, really, I should say, like all the first Superman movies. So like the original Superman, Superman Returns, Man of Steel, and now just Superman. So anyway, I'm excited. Hope you guys have a great time. Thank you so much for listening to me, just kind of hanging out, getting some of this stuff, just kind of unpacking my brain and sharing some stories with you guys. Again, leave a comment down below. Make sure you share the video. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of each other. And please, until next time, make sure you don't spend that quarter anywhere else. Thanks, guys. Take care. Up, and away.